Don't cry, little loads of variants fan. Uncle Purple Zombie's got enough Torchwood variants to feed you your whole life.
Human life is precious and fragile and should be experienced to its fullest, as we only have an undetermined limited amount of time on this earth. I'm going to be playing 11 rounds of Garden Ops with the Torchwood, but before we delve into the pits of eternal damnation, I'd like to mention that I am now opening up channel memberships. That's right, for the low price of £1.99 a month, you can support me in my various endeavors. You get literally nothing from it, but having people willingly pay me because they enjoy my content is kind of an amazing feeling, to be honest. Anyway, the first variant is the Tree X1000, which, as you might have noticed, is one of those costumes that they released for Torchwood and Hovergoat when the game was on its last legs. Clearly they wanted to give the players a little preview of the next installment of the series by providing us with really cool cosmetics and designs and having them just do nothing different. Sorry, I gotta get the BFN slander in early with this one. We got a long day. Anyway, as the Tree X is full of Nickelodeon slime, this obviously must make it a toxic variant. It also has ramping fire rates. Basically, this is yet another loads of variants character that is just a Frankenstein abomination of different already used gimmicks. Truly one of the most creative mods to ever exist. We again start off with Sandy Sands and yet again go to this horrible lakeside garden. So-called free thinkers when the garden is enchanted anyway. There isn't really much challenge for 275 health tanks with a button that just removes things from existence. Makes them pretty good for this game mode, as we have seen several times on the opposite end of the Blazing Blast. Wave 4 heralds the Brainless Brigade, which spawns every Foot Soldier variant and Redditor imps. Sadly for them, the Torchwood is just a horrible spawn of the devil, which makes this wave pretty easy. Wave 5 spawns these two boring ass robots who are killed with such little effort. One of our allies decides to incinerate the remains of this Foot Soldier so the body cannot be identified. And Wave 6 spawns the ultra stinky goat who dies under a waterfall and just has water constantly pouring on it as it lay lifeless in a puddle. Wave 7 and I get jumped by 5 robo soldiers but still manage to live. The magic of such a poorly designed character. Sadly, a giant Gatling bot spawns in and shoots me through the brain.
But now we gotta hunt the champions.
Can you guess what wave we get after this? The Fire Super Brains is actually a massive threat to Torchwood, since the Torchwood's fat cylinder of a hitbox attracts the fireballs he shoots like a magnet. Ironic considering that when I played as the Fire Super Brains, I lost to a Giga Torchwood wave. The Fire Super Brains proves to be too much for the jars to handle, so we fucking lose. I thought this would be really easy, but no, I can't have any nice things. Next time is really easy though, because instead of a Fire Super Brains, it spawns an Ice one. To be fair, he just sort of stands there like an idiot whilst 3 Torchwoods burn him alive. I just realized that we have a Fire, Ice, Water, Electric, and Green Super Brains. Just need an Earth one, and we'll have the entire cast of Lego Ninjago. Speaking of which, we get to the boss wave, and it's the old man, yeah, finally! A silver lining in this monotonous grind. The old man summons hundreds of karate zombies who all start aggressively kicking the jar fluid out of the Torchwoods, including this really annoying elite boss that keeps turning invincible. After slaughtering and incinerating all of his students, the old man then decides to psychologically torture the nefarious Torchwoods as he summons false illusions of their allies, which is really funny to see a weed just die and turn into a bold Super Brains. Did that guy just turn into a super bean for a split second? Anyway, the one benefit of being a Torchwood is the fact that we will not see any Torchwoods ourselves, right? Wrong! Illusion Brain's elite boss. Can't have any episode of this series without fighting a Torchwood, can I? Anyway, the old man then proceeds to summon the entire retirement home to try and smash the Torchwood jars, and they just look at this, they just start pummeling and stun-locking him, smacking him in the throat so he can't even blazing blast. Zen Sensei tries to summon more old men as a last-ditch attempt, but sadly the elderly are no match for fire. The old man dies. Thus ends the first of 11 rounds of ops. God. Next variant is the house. The Gingerbark House has the unique ability of showing up once in rucks for Christmas and never again. I genuinely, I don't think you can get this character legitimately anymore. Anyway, remember what I was saying about these variants being a Frankenstein abomination of character gimmicks? This is just Jade Cactus with a minigun. The sweets hit the ground and they blow up after a few seconds, utterly enthralling me when I try to enjoy a delectable treat, but it violently explodes in a bright pink flash of destruction. We go to Lunar Landing and I begin violently attacking this green crystal before fighting a horde of brown coats. I unload into this red bastard for a solid 10 seconds and it remains. Not a good sign. This gimmick is really useless. If I miss, then the zombies usually run away from the explosion before it can go off, and if I lead my shots over where they're going to be, I might as well just shoot them in the face to deal more damage. It would have been cool if the sweets attracted zombies to them like Beam Bomb does, but that would require effort, and evidently that is something I do not possess. On wave 4, a newspaper zombie forgets where it is. The boss wave seems like it's gonna give us a jackpot of golden doubloons, but Baron Von Batch shows up. Imagine being 70
Another
spins in at the casino just to get 2 sevens before being greeted by a corpse in medieval attire. Also, I get smacked by a crown coat and die. This will greatly affect the housing market. Another reminder to insure your property against the bat beam. Wave 6 spawns an engineer elite that isn't Ted T Tech, a cheap imitation of a beloved figure. You should be ashamed of yourself. Wave 9 sends the pirate horde after me. Whilst I am melting this pirate elite boss, it appears my allies aren't doing the one thing that they're there for and defending the garden. Fun fact, if I didn't have any allies, then the game would never spawn super boss waves. These things are literally a massive liability that I have nothing but contempt for. Speaking of contempt, Wave 10 spawns the Yeti, which actually isn't that bad this time because instead of being a mouth with legs, I am a tree with an M134, so the Yeti just sort of runs around and gets sweets thrown at it. Again, these 3 guaranteed elite Arctic troopers all show up, which mind you have the health of actual bosses, so this is essentially a vanilla super wave just thrown into this already long boss fight. Don't you hate it when your house gets destroyed by a rampaging white ape throwing icy spears at it? Anyway, the Yeti explodes, ensuring another victory for the Torchwood. Next variant is the Sugar Plum Fury. What a shit name. Anyway, this weapon sounds fucking awful. This Torchwood shoots powdered crack at the zombies in a shotgun pattern. It also moves faster than the normal Torchwood at the cost of less health. I question the decision to give a Torchwood who has to get up close to enemies to deal damage less health. But Torchwood has such an obscene amount of it that shaving off a couple dozen hit points doesn't really do anything. Aqua Center this time. The green smog makes a perfect backdrop for me running around in ballet shoes shooting people with a sawed-off shotgun. I also decide to spawn a candy cane shoot that I envelop in a white cloud. This round was really boring. Only 3 variants in, and I was already starting to nod off, which you can see by me completely disassociating whilst playing. But then Ted himself appears. Yet again, whenever I am down, Ted comes by to help me back up again. Wave 9 spawns more engineers. Could we get the elusive double Ted round? No, because it just spawns this abomination. The boss we have to slog through is the Disco Zombie, which after getting smacked around a bit and after a few times of the Disco Zombie getting collapsed into a neutron star, we managed to... The next variant is the Mosswood, and yes, almost all of the Torchwood variants from now on are just going to look the exact same. So the Mosswood shoots little glowing seeds at things. These seeds, when they kill something, grow into weeds. From alcohol to coke to weed. I wonder what narcotic will play as next. The weeds spawned by Mosswood have green balls stapled to them. This makes nearby allies take reduced damage. Not only that, but Mosswood also has the ability to spawn pea cannons if he kills a bot. But what happens if you kill a boss? The big weed itself appears. The newly spawned big weed will remove zombies from existence with a clap of its hands. The Mosswoods take to the Z-Tech factory, where they set up a base within a bomb manufacturing facility. The combined firepower of the Mosswoods' glowing green orbs and the growing weed swarm makes quick work of the early waves. I like how there is just the charred remains of a zombie's corpse here. Another victim of the blazing blast. Wave 4 spams goats at me, which sucks because for some reason they don't spawn weeds when you kill them. The hover goats spawn weeds though, so I guess this is just an oversight by that blind moron, the purple zombie. The presence of a hover goat results in the obligatory melting of an ally by the patented beam of annihilation. Wave 5 spawns a Giga Gargantua, which means Big Weed is now part of the team. Big Weed pretty much just obliterates everything it lays its eyes upon. Gone. Nothing remains except a bloody red mist. Not even the Robo-Soldier spam stands a chance against the might of the Big Weed. Big Weed then ominously stares into my soul like it's judging my sins to see if I shall be granted safe passage back to the garden or dragged into the pits by its crushing grip. During the boss wave cutscene, Big Weed just vanishes. Gone forever. The in-game reason for this is due to the fact that all summoned weeds have a timer before they stop existing to avoid the map being clogged up with thousands of them and the game crashing. But I like to think the big weed has returned to the big stump super wave, where it will lie in wait for whatever poor class of zombies I put through the trenches next. Anyway, the Gargantua spams these stupid crown coats and blitzers, but due to a certain ability we have, isn't much of an issue. Sadly, an ally steals the Gargantua kill with smoldering madness, so no big weed spawns out of this Gargantua, depriving me of content, you third-partying bastard. I decide to punish this aforementioned blight by forcefully puppeting their fully conscious body and slowly walking towards the toxic slop and throwing them in. More of a work acquaintance than a friend. Apparently that one was dead the entire boss fight, so I killed an innocent man. Oh well. Next variant is the Spruce Smasher. This Torchwood has less health, dashes instead of using an attack, and can do an uppercut attack by pressing the zoom button. That's right! Bullet Brains 2 is upon us. That big red X is rapidly approaching. Before I send Spruce Smasher to his death, I find the elusive Gem of the Underneath and use the rainbow stars obtained to open one of those rainbow star chests you get Nobus's house keys from. You'd get more functional programming from a room of chimps with typewriters. Expected I'd end up on this island at some point. Oh look, I've been mugged again! Do not go into an unlit area of Boney Island. Downgraded the chimp's typewriters to one of those bead things you find in a doctor's waiting room. Not only that, but the game decides to put the character that literally cannot use its primary weapon without getting launched like a rubber band on a map with multiple instant death pits. The death pits prove to actually be useful as I proceed to start casting soldiers into the fiery core of Boney Island. Tell you what, this must be terrifying on the zombies' end. Imagine being deployed in a war and the first thing you come across is a giant slab of bark charging at you at 60 miles an hour. After flinging a flag zombie into the murky depths, we quickly find ourselves in a familiar scenario, as on wave 4 all of my allies are dead. This thing sucks at fighting anything with over 125 health, especially since elites are just built different and do not get knocked back at all. Also, we only have 175 health. However, unlike that fraud Bullet Brains, Spruce Smasher has the advantage of being a Torchwood. Wave 5 spawns possibly the worst boss this character could fight. Beware the 7 damage blazing blast. Inevitably this happens, and I have to fight 3 bosses at once with a character whose main gimmick is shoving people out of the way. With how the elites are positioned here, I could most certainly have just booted them into the drink, but no. Past Purple Zombie decided it'd be funny to make them welded to the ground, and truly the maker of my own damnation. Next time spawns the ever-present Ice Brains. Also, Blazing Blast just doesn't show anything anymore. Torchwood just stands there and stares at the monster zombies get set ablaze. And by a miracle, I managed to win. Really living on borrowed time. Have I ever told you how much I am not really that fond of this special wave? After being baited by this delectable soldier near an unguardrailed cliff top, I get stunned and gunned. Luckily, one of my allies is still alive. A disgrace on the Torchwood name, but as you can see, this wood ain't even torch, just a big stump that snuck in whilst no one was looking. Next variant is the Stone Torchwood, a Torchwood who has even more health. Whoever made this mod must really love the Torchwood class. But before we get into the Stone Torchwood, we finally got that red mystery chest pack. I did need those self-revives, to be fair. Stone Torchwood just throws rocks at people. That's his whole gimmick, is that he pelts zombies with rocks. Surely a 325 health pebble throwing tree will be an easy victory for me. After putting the right foot in the creek, the first few waves are just about 5 minutes of zombies getting pelted with stones. We got public stonings in Garden Warfare 2 before a functioning anti-cheat. A zombomb appears, which as you might imagine just gets pelted with stones. Excellent bomb defusal strategy. Such a foolproof strategy that I don't even have to interact with the zombomb at all, as my allies do it with no help. I'm proud of them. Wave 4 spams ice variants at me, which to whoever has played as a Torchwood against any ice character before could tell you is the Torchwood's biggest weakness. Can have as much health as you want. The frost consumes at the same rate regardless. Why is this elite just called Gladiator? That's so boring. We got names like Ted T Tech and Wandering McGee, but the best I could think of for this one was just Gladiator. Why not, Roman Ralph? Captain Frostbite rears his grease-covered head once again, this time enlisting the help of a blood-red scientist who was powered by 3 mystical gems. Wave 7 not only spawns the fucking champions again, but this geriatric old bastard who starts running away and disabling my abilities whilst I chase him around throwing rocks at him. Did not think that this ops match would devolve into me chasing an elderly man around, pelting him with stones. Also, it turns out that if you hit an enemy in the air with a rock, they get flung up even higher, which is a gimmick that Rock P used to have before they removed it and labelled it as a bug. God forbid an armor variant do anything. We grab the CIA intel again and get a golden pea shooter out of it. Wave 9 spawns another illusion confusion, which means we get to fight our good friend Giga Torchwood. Yet again, cannot escape him no matter what side I'm on. Wave 10 and Zen Sensei appears again. Seeing random super beans just appearing fills me with immense dread. Also, it turns out my allies are fucking clueless dumb idiots and cannot tell that these weeds are actually super brains in disguise, resulting in them all dying. Not only that, but look who it is again! This is psychological warfare and should not be allowed. My god, only I could somehow lose a game of Ops to a Torchwood whilst playing as a Torchwood. Again, I could retry, but these super boss waves are so long and there's so many Torchwoods to play. From now on, if I die on a super boss wave at all, no matter if I could retry or not, it's just over. I am not sitting here for another 20 fucking minutes just to die again. I am not a fucking Sisyphus with the boulder. If I try push that boulder, that thing's rolling over me. Maybe you should have clocked that the weeds currently breaking your ribs are in fact enemies of the state. Next variant, and we're finally over halfway there. This was a mistake. Forest Fire, who shoots fire. a fire variant of Torchwood. We're breaching new ground today. Anyway, the forest fire is really funny and just engulfs zombies in pillars of flames like that one Snapdragon ability. Kind of impossible to tell how much damage it does though, as it just floods the screen with the number 2. We yet again fail to return the slab as we end up in sandy sands where we proceed to burn everything alive. Even bring a Snapdragon with us as a subtle homage to this character's gimmick's origins. Also, if you aim straight up with this character, you can make a fiery hellstorm, which is always good to know. Wave 4 spawns my man Roman Ralph again, and a load of engineers. Ralph out here trying to make his aqueducts. Super Chill appears again and proves his chill nature by just deciding to not attack like a 2-fort friendly. The forest fires do not accept this fiend as a friend, and in retaliation he hits them with a giant purple sphere but misses. Wave 8 spawns untextured chickens. And then wave 9 isn't a special wave for once. I have this footage of me toying with this little goblin. Also, I think this image of a dead Torchwood and a hovergoat with its laser equipped speaks volumes. Wave 10 is the disco zombie, so basically we just win. It's just 20 minutes of holding down the left mouse button. What do you want from me? I did find him beating this Torchwood with a glass dome kind of funny though. After engulfing the disco zombies in a catastrophic inferno, the likes of which the world has never seen, we escape and reclaim the win. Sorry these sections are so short, but there is just not much to say about the 7th Torchwood we've seen today. The 8th Torchwood is Redwood. Redwood fires obscenely fast and is slightly larger than the other Torchwoods, also giving it over 300 health again. The only downside of this character is that it moves slower whilst priming. Not like Torchwood was exactly covering much ground on his own, this character just makes the normal Torchwood redundant. Better start using Blazing Blast to heat up McDonald's orders. Anyway, we go to Lunar Landing this time. The first few waves perish quite quickly. Having sharp fragments of wood shot at you isn't good if you value your continued existence. So it's just really easy and quite boring, to be honest. My allies start having a pep talk between themselves. I expect big things from you three. At least we get to break vases and fight more ice variants. Immediately being followed up by a Yeti. And wouldn't you know it, look who it is again. Ralph. And Gw2 Torchwood. Fought more Gw2 Torchwoods in this video than I would have playing as a zombie at this point. Next wave spawns the swag, getting the whole rogues gallery of iconic loads of variants characters right now. We then fight a swarm of imps, ignore the stupid checkpoint challenge, and oh my god, it's reinforcements, the long-awaited return of improvised armor. Sadly, that awful robo-soldier spawns, but defense can only go so far against having a wood chipper thrown at you. Wave 10 is the Yeti. Really starting to nod off. This is so boring. He just runs around. There's a funny little dad, spawns 3 obnoxious elite bosses. Why do they have a permanent defense buff? Just give them more health. It just feels like it takes longer, and then he explodes. And we win again with what is essentially a better Torchwood. Next variant is the Sappy Torchwood, whose gimmick is vomiting on the zombies. What a disgusting creation. So excited to hear this sound for the next 30 minutes. He also turns people yellow. This is literally just the delivery chomper again. But don't worry, it has the unique gimmick of regenerating health obscenely fast, basically making Chomp Thing also completely redundant. This is what happens when you make 11 Torchwoods. At least we finally have a close range centered Torchwood that doesn't reduce its health, which would probably actually be warranted considering the insane regeneration this thing has. The green skies of Aqua Center beckon us forth as I breathe on this car and it explodes instantly. Also, apparently Sappy Torchwood doesn't use a damage area like every other spray character does. It uses a projectile, which means if you look up, the projectile gets stuck behind you and explodes on the ground. this mod is not that good. After attacking a cannon for some reason, I think the boredom was starting to get to me at this point, we are attacked by another bloody Yeti, and All-Star Gaming makes his triumphant return just to get sealed in a brick wall. Imagine just being like in an apartment and then All-Star Gaming just like scrabbling around in your walls. I then intimidate this funny-looking fish and stare at a road cone in disbelief. I am running out of things to talk about. We then proceed to defuse a bomb by spitting on it, and a purple exploding imp flashes on the screen for an instant before dying and dropping the gem of the underneath. All fun and games until the spice rack gains consciousness. Just as we are about to kill him, a Z-Mech then appears in front of me and stomps on me. That genuinely scared me. Smoldering madness then does this. The super wave this time is the Gargantua.
I hate this red thing, I spit on you.
Fighting a Berserker elite with a melee character sure is a fun and engaging activity. I sure am glad I am currently experiencing this. After transmogrifying the Gargantua into Homer again, we win and leave unscathed. The next and 10th variant is the Haunted Oak, who uses the very scary laser to fire a beam of purple energy that extracts the zombie's soul and contains it in an orb. Collect this and you heal like 10 health. That's how much these people's lives were worth in the end. 10 hit points. Killing heroes spawns orbs that do different things, like increased damage, speed, jump height, and evil purple aura. If you kill a boss, it drops a powerful orb that... Let me grab my fucking orb. Anyway, this orb applies all these effects, so it's just that one imp variant on Torchwood. Please just do something that's just original for once. Other allies can pick up these orbs, as shown by this super-powered super beam off the Time Park, where it turns out that having little health packs littering the map at all times actually makes ops really easy. Also, apparently the soul of a pirate makes you get flung 20 foot in the air for some reason. What a useful ability to have. Another missed opportunity at a TED appearance later, and we're fighting a disco zombie whose soul I steal and use to fight this obnoxious karate zombie elite. God, I hate this thing so much. Really does feel like I'm being offended. He drops a red orb because he's red and evil and I hate him. One robo assault later and we're defusing more explosives. The Zombomb drops a powerful orb, which I will save for later for use during the boss wave. As long as one of my allies don't grab it. Yeah, that means you better stay away from me orb. Wave 10 spawns the fucking old man again, but this time I have a plan. You see, when I get spawning to the undetectable army of super brains, I will eat the orb and become more powerful. You stole my orb! The nerve of some people. Come up with any nice things, can I? And oh, what a surprise! These 3 idiots are huddled in the corner, attacking this Torchwood in a box. So we lose again. The moral of this story is to never touch another man's orb. So here we are, at last. The last Torchwood. I am so close to being free of this abhorrent tree. Until the next time where I am assaulted by 3 Torchwood waves and 10 Torchwood elites. Christmas Torchwood. What a fucking abhorrence of character design. What the actual fuck are my eyes being besmirched with right now? My favourite part of the holiday season is decorating the iconic Christmas mold lump with white and yellow glowing rings. The Christmas Torchwood is an ice variant, hence its disgusting pale blue complexion. You could also shoot allies to apply damage buffs and heal them. Not only that, but it has a legendary meter, which creates the I hate melee characters ice elite aura around yourself when you fill it up. Not only that, but this character deals more damage the lower ammo it has. Has ammo for some reason. Not only is this character an abomination in appearance, but in functionality, it is just about 10 different gimmicks thrown into a blender. Just like how this thing was thrown around in Blender. We fittingly go to Frosty Creek, where we discover that the healing and damage buffing your allies gimmick just doesn't work on other Christmas Torchwoods. This is just a scuffed solution to make it not apply the buffs to itself, isn't it? Lazy zombie. Anyway, we are attacked by a horde of goats as the legendary meter starts freaking out for some reason. This hover goat elite has a valid reaction to seeing 3 blue Torchwoods appear in front of it and plunges itself into the ice cold waters, never to be seen again. I like how when this character has its meter active, Blazing Blast deals 20 damage, gone from an air fryer to a nuclear furnace. Wave 5 and oh my god, really just sneaking another Giga Torchwood in there right in the end. The boss is the Yeti yet again, where we discover that this character has yet another gimmick, that being it is immune to the ice effect for some reason. No other ice character is like this, and it isn't immune to Yeti's freeze attack, but every other ice character just doesn't freeze it. Guess I made this character after being frozen and impaled by a missile by an Arctic trooper one too many times. I like the idea of me just angrily creating a character in response to being humbled in a round of turf takeover. Cactus done moved out the way of my ultra ball. That's it. I'm removing your ability to walk. Also, it isn't even immune to the stupid Winter Wanderer ice aura thing, so what's even the point in having the immunity? Anyway, because of this boss fight is extremely easy and we kill the Yeti and we win. At last. We never, ever have to play as another Torchwood ever again. I hope you enjoyed this very long episode of loads of variance ops, and I hope the next character you pick has a single digit amount of variance, because that really was loads of variance. Also, oh my god, the sound didn't cut out a single time out of all of those. That's actually amazing. The game actually functioned.